Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Corinth. Today we have two special guests with us. The first is Melissa Dolan. She is our fearless leader of the Parks and Rec Department. And the second is Piper Davison. She's one of our local high school students who is doing a very special project. And we have got some questions for her. And we're hoping that she can fill us in on what is turning out to be a huge project. So not what we normally see with the Girl Scout, Boy Scout project. So first, how did you get started in the Girl Scouts?
So I joined Girl Scouts in second grade at the Brownie level. About when I moved to Texas from Maryland, the friends that I found at school and the friends that my parents made got me into Girl Scouts. And so most of the girls that I'm in with today, I've been in Girl Scouts with since I joined. And we've gone through our Bronze Award together in about 5th grade, and then Silver Award, a 7th grade, and now we're all doing our individual Gold Awards.
So the Gold Award is, I guess, pretty identical to like an Eagle Scout project.
It is.
And so we've seen a couple of those come through the city since I've been involved. But your project in particular seems to be much bigger and much more complicated than anything that I've seen before. But before we get into that, you were also a member of our YAC.
Yes, I was. I joined that my sophomore year because I had just started this project and I wanted to really amp up my involvement in the city and understanding the government because I was going to be working with it so closely. This year, however, I joined swim and water polo, and my schedule conflicted, so I am not in it anymore. But I have a very close friend still in it, and
Sure.
She is in Girl Scouts with me too.
And she's in Girl Scouts too?
Yes.
So let's get into the project itself. What is this big project that you are helping our residents with?
So I am working to build a dog park that is open for the entire community of Corinth and even people that don't live in Corinth but might be in the area. I noticed that every city, they have a city dog park, but Corinth doesn't, even though there might be some small ones for apartment buildings, or there's the Burritos and Bones place that has a little dog area, but it's not a full public dog park. And so I really wanted to get one of those in, especially living so close.
So tell us, so you've been working very closely with Melissa through this process. Melissa, do you want to fill us in on some of the pieces, parts that she's been having to manage through and lead? She's leading the project.
She 100% is leading the project. I am just following her and helping her along. So we've been working together about a year. And so what it is, it's going to be a dog park located on one of our underutilized football fields, the South football fields in the community park. And Piper, we've gone through the whole design phase with her. It's going to have 3 sections to it. We'll have a small dog park, a big dog park, and then an area for resting so we can rotate the grass. She's thought of all this great things for it, down to the rules. She's got some amenities to it that she can add to, and we are just very excited to bring this project to the city.
Very nice. So fundraising. So not only are you leading and kind of being a project manager, but you've been having to fundraise along the way too. So give us an idea of how your fundraising has been going.
So it's been going very well. A lot of it comes straight from the community. And not only is that a kind of rule for the Gold Award, it can only be fundraising or funding it directly. But it's also a way to get community members involved. So the first way I'm fundraising is selling Girl Scout cookies, and I kind of get to use the money that I've made since the beginning of Girl Scouts for me. And then the second way, the most popular, is my GoFundMe. We've raised up to $8,000 now.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have that advertised on our Facebook page, and I think the city has it on theirs also.
Yep.
And that way, just random members of the community that find it. We've had There was one lady specifically that donated $1,000 just
Wow.
because she was excited to see it. And so
Yeah.
it's amazing to connect with people that way. And then the next way that I've done fundraising is bench sponsorships.
Okay.
So I made flyers and I went out with my dad and we went to businesses and we went to car dealerships and Harley Davidson and asked if they wanted to have one for their business. But we also opened it up to people and families, individuals like that. And we've had 4 bench sponsorships now. And so those have been very nice, and they get to have an engraving on the bench, and that's basically how we've got our seating for the park.
So you've sold 4 benches for $1,000 each, and these were to local companies.
Yes, they were 2. We have 1 from a company, and then 3 of them are from individuals in the community
Oh, wow.
as, a kind of memorial to someone or just for their family or them themselves. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And so I know that you're still working very hard on the fundraising. And so we're going to stay tuned to your website and to Facebook page because you're working on other creative ways that people that may not have $1,000 to donate
Yes.
for a bench can have a way to have their fingerprint on this dog park.
Definitely.
And truly make it a community-sourced park.
Yes, as someone, just a high schooler in the community, I really want this to be the people's dog park. And so I want as many people that can be involved as possible.
Very nice. So not only have you been raising cash, but you've also had people donate their time
Yes.
and their services. And one of the more interesting was the architect. You want to give us a rundown of what happened there?
Yes, of course. So our architect, Catherine Utecht, she works with Kimley Horn in Fort Worth. She donated our original CAD drawing and her time and her resources to that, and she is still doing that for us, and we are so thankful. We recently got an updated rendering for the park with our new ideas since it's been about a year since we got the original drawing, and we are so thankful to her.
And so one of the questions that I would have, being an outsider looking into this project, is what are some of the steps that you've had to go through? Because this is a lot more than just coming up with an idea and coming in and talking to Melissa. You've had to present this to council. You've presented it to the Parks and Rec Board. You want to give us an idea, and maybe Melissa, you can fill in from your perspective what that's looked like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. So it started out obviously with the Girl Scouts. I had to get their approval before I was technically supposed to ask the city, but they kind of happened around the same time. And so I got approval from the Girl Scouts of Northeast Texas Gold Award Committee. And then I also got approval from the city to present it to the Parks Board Committee. And they put it on their parks plan to then present to the city council. And then the city council approved it, and we were able to move forward and then really think about okay, now we need a design for the park and what all goes into a dog park. And it's so much more than what you might think.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's probably a load of rules and regs and
So
ADA
much.
compliance. I mean, this is truly baptism by fire into the world of civics, I would imagine.
Yeah, and so to get my original design, my family and I went around to all 16 parks in Corinth to choose the location that we were going to present to the Parks Committee and then the City Council. And we were talking about a few locations at first. We decided on the Corinth Community Park ultimately. And then from there, we've also gone around to several cities in the area and looked at their dog parks, and we've continued to do that throughout the year, going to new ones that we find out about, getting new ideas kind of so we can mush them all together and have our own.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so if you look at 20 or 30 parks and dog parks you kind of get to pick the things that you like the best. And if you happen to go to one and you're like, ugh, that didn't work out so well, then you can scratch that off the list.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times when you see something in action, and especially a park that's functioning, do you sit back and actually watch how the people are interacting with the dog park and how the dogs are enjoying it? And
Yeah, so some of the ones we've been to, it's been, empty. And so we're just kind of looking at the structure, looking at the benches that they have, taking pictures of the rules, looking at the fence height and the structure of the park itself. But then some of them we've actually taken my dog to, and we've let her out to play with the other dogs and found connections there through talking to people there and mentioning our dog park. And so that's been very cool.
very nice. So, Melissa, to put you on the hot seat for a minute, what have you noticed about this process from a city's perspective?
First and foremost, I commend Piper for all the work she has done. She has really taken the lead on this, from going to city council to having a standing place at our monthly Parks and Rec board meetings. She's doing great. We've talked in great detail about what might be minute things, but you have to really go through it.
Sure.
Of how tall is the fence? How big are the grates between the fence? Because you don't want the little dogs to get out or to dig. So we spend a lot of times, like, you wouldn't even think about some of those things. So Piper's learned a lot about that. She's also learning a lot about what it takes from a city standpoint of, okay, now you need to go get 3 quotes, and now we need to go from there. So she is learning the ins and outs of, it's just not as easy as some people may think to go purchase something when you're working with taxpayers' dollars,
Right.
of how we need to be good stewards of that funding. She has gone to council and she has presented to council, and council has their full support of this. And so we've got some funding there as well from council to back this project, because it's a great project, but it's a big project and she can't come up with the funding on her own. So the city is helping as well and
Sure.
putting in some money to match, to go above and beyond and to help as well.
So, from a funding perspective, how much, where are the funds coming from, and how much?
So right now in this fiscal year, we have $59,000 budgeted out of our community park funding. So we're going to put that towards the dog park. Piper is still diligently working on her funding. So we're hoping to get as much as we can. And we're a little nervous on the supply chain and how much pricing has gone
Sure.
up, to see if we're going to be able to get everything accomplished that we once put out in the budget with the way pricing is. So we're just going to have to see how it goes and see what we can do.
Well, with the amount that you've had donated, and on top of what seems to be a very strong GoFundMe campaign, I don't have any doubts that this is going to be an amazing dog park for Corinth.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. We have met so many amazing people, and I have so much support, and I'm very thankful for it, and I'm so excited to see it when it's done.
Now we're excited. I want to bring my dog to the dog park. Melissa, what time frame are we looking at for this?
So right now, Piper is working on getting some quotes for materials for the fencing, for the water fountains, the waste stations. A lot of that's really going to depend on supply chain. So she's working on that. We have our next Parks and Rec meeting next month, where she's going to present to the board pictures, and then we're going to go forth of what they want. They're going to make final decisions, and then we'll probably start ordering next month. And depending on lead time and everything that's involved with that, Piper is going out of state this summer, right?
Yes, just a little bit. I have a few trips out of state.
So it's going to be a community build. So when the fencing comes in, we're going to ask the community to come help us build the fencing.
How fun.
We'll see if they think it's fun when we're digging holes. But yes, it's going to be a community build. So we were thinking of fall, when the
Sure.
temperatures are a little bit cooler and more people are in town. So we're thinking about starting in the fall and then hopefully be done pretty soon after that.
But if anybody out there is like me, and I'm sure that a lot are, not opposed to digging a fence post, but maybe not when it's 110, right?
Hence
Is
why
that
we
what we're getting at?
Yes, like, absolutely. So that's why we're pushing it back to the fall to attract some more people.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But it is entirely possible that in 2022, notwithstanding any supply chain issues, we should have a fun place to go meet friends with our dogs at the park.
That is our goal. That is our goal. Absolutely. We're very excited for it.
So what's next? Because we want to know. So we've got somebody who's 15, 16,
I'm
not only
16.
16. So not only has made it all the way to this gold award in Girl Scouts, but you've also found time to be on our Youth Advisory Council. And so for those that don't know, that is a teen-led city council.
Yeah.
So you make recommendations to council. What do you see for yourself in the future?
Well, I'm very excited for college. I think that I'm going to stick around here for a little bit, but I do have, plans to maybe go to UT Austin.
Okay.
I would like to go there, or out of state possibly. Keeping my mind open, but I'm enjoying this year, and I'm going to enjoy my senior year. And with the ending of the dog park, I'm not sure what will be next, but I would like to stay involved in the city. It's been a
Sure.
very fun journey.
Well, no matter where you end up, you will have left us with quite a legacy and quite a nice dog park. And so on behalf of council and residents, thank you for all the hard work that you've put in.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for joining us today on Let's Talk Corinth. I also want to thank Melissa and Piper for being here today. And thank you one more time for all the hard work that you've put in to make Corinth a better place.
Of course.
I also want to let everybody out there know that we have a State of the City event coming up. That's going to be led by our city manager, Bob Hart, and our mayor, Bill Heidemann. That is going to be on March 19th. We will have access to join via Zoom, but we would also like you to just come on out and see us. And that way we can meet and shake hands, and then you can get a sense of all the things that are happening here in the city. So until next time, let's talk Corinth.